The recording. So those of you, who had participated in this uh, post, you would have seen this. I asked a simple question on, what causes midlife crisis, and the reason for asking that question and that poll was, as a professional coach, I work with CXO CEOs primarily. You would have seen my profile, and this is one theme that keeps coming. you know the crisis that they face. And why do I term it midlife? Often it comes up around once they cross 50 and they're in the process of going to the next level, CXO CEO, and all the challenges thereof. And I think it just got worse during this COVID related challenges, both professionally for sure. We are facing challenges to a great extent personally also. Especially I have clients from across the globe. Literally everyone is affected directly or indirectly, so there is no one who is exempt from this pandemic, and impacting in their own unique ways. And all of us are responding based on who we are, right? So while there's a lot of challenges and we are still trying to figure out how to manage this crisis and the uh, I thought it's a good time, even at the peak of the second wave in India. And as you're speaking, perhaps we are just past the peak, God willing. This came up strongly, so I thought it's a good idea to kind of reflect on this. Again, why this topic? I have got some 400 odd votes. Of course, some of them are my comments, also my response. There are some 20,000 views. So this is subsequent post. I'm not going to find the original post. So more than 20,000 views and 400 votes. I thought a lot of people are resonating with this. So I thought, why not choose this as a topic for discussion during this webinar? And again, in the as I said earlier, those who joined just now, this is a free webinar. It's genuinely free. Why we still made it mandatory to register is just to avoid spam, right? And we want to know who's joining. So otherwise, there is no uh, ulterior motive behind collecting your email IDs. Yeah, only thing, you will be part of a mailing list, and we'll send you once in a way some newsletters and other stuff which will be relevant to you. That is, that's the reason why we are doing this webinar. On that context, again, I go back to the poll. Again, I started with a request not to just view it, but vote. And just don't vote also, please do comment. And thanks to every one of you, each one of you who listened to my request and not only voted, but also commented. Yeah, of course, 20,500 people, 20,000 would have gone beyond looking at the poll. No comments for them. Uh, Now, there's another important point that I want to bring it up. What causes midlife crisis? Yeah, these are the four elements that we'll come back to. But before that, I want to briefly touch upon this topic. This again is something that I'm seeing more from our kind of work, where what when I say my parents' generation faced maybe truly mid-career, right, or midlife. We find people facing it much earlier, in some cases much later. So the whole definition of mid-career seemed to have changed. We find some of the millennials experiencing that much earlier. And if I have time, we'll go into that. Especially if anyone interested, you can post a question, and we'll try to address that. But it is no longer a midlife. Two reasons why it is important for us to have this awareness. Number one, uh, you know, this is a possibility that we all face. Yeah, so if it hits us, let us be aware that maybe I'm going through my midlife career or just some kind of a crisis in my life. Male, female, young, old, everyone typically goes through this journey. I think it's part of our evolution as a human being. I know if I can link it up to the spiritual journey, I think it's a very integral part of the spiritual journey that we go through. So first one is being aware. The if you're aware of it, it's easier to accept. And that yeah, maybe I'm facing some kind of a crisis. From once the moment we are able to accept it, then we can do something about it. If you're going to keep it saying that no, I'm kind of at a stage where this will not bother me and something really hits you, then you will not be prepared. So it's important that you're aware of the possibility that something like this can happen to everyone at different ages. That is number one. Number two, we also need to be cognizant of this hitting our near and dear ones, our family, our friends, our colleagues at work, and others with whom we interact. Because the symptoms that this can throw out will also differ from person to person. So this is a monster that we cannot afford to ignore in life. At the same time, the advantage is that the moment we are aware, we want to find a solution to this, you can manage it. You can do that. So it's very important for each one of us to be mindful of something like this hitting not only us but also our near and dear ones. And as I said, first about it's about being aware, then accept, and then act. I would even add one more A, that is being in allowance. Can I just be a witness, as Buddha says? Can I just be a witness to the crisis that is happening to me? And no, not staying away from action, not staying away from responding. No, but I'm saying you respond with that level of detachment. It's very important, it will help you. Yeah, that's another important thing I want to highlight. Now, coming to the poll itself, then I'll tell you what I plan to do for the rest of the 30, 40 minutes. Now, there is a deliberate reason why I chose only these four parameters. You would have seen, there's something called Circle of Life and Regulate 60. This was more to trigger some of my friends who are also fellow coaches or clients or just friends who know some of these terms like Regulate 60 and Circle of Life. This is a coaching model that we use in our work. So, in Circle of Life, it's a tool quite like if you have seen Ikigai, right? Every popular book, Ikigai has this option to find out what is my purpose of life. It's based on a Japanese community and how it works. The only thing is this Regal at 60 goes much deeper. So when we interact with our coaching clients, or when we interact with leaders who want to become coaches like me, I mean, we do this train the trainer programs. 90% of the cases, these are the first four parameters, irrespective of the age, background, country. No reason to exclude. This is typically the first four, not in this order, of people who come up with what are important to me in my life. And we're talking about life. We're not talking about when I'm at 20, I'm at 30, I'm 40 or 60. No. In my life, what are those four parameters that are important? So, typically coaching clients or people who want to become coaches do look at career as important. So there is no surprise that career has come up as number one. Yeah. Number two, again, is relationships. As somebody mentioned in the comment, he asked, is it because of the COVID related situation, right? Maybe that people are placing relationship as number two, but no surprises, right? That career is number one, then it is health, and then wealth. Now I want to highlight two things for you. Number one, does it surprise you that career got only 34% on LinkedIn? Yeah, because we all are on LinkedIn primarily to promote our professional career. We are not connecting on LinkedIn like in Facebook, we connect with the family and friends, or we connect with Twitter for something else, or we connect with Instagram, an extension of Facebook, kind of maybe for a younger crowd, or we are on WhatsApp and other messaging platforms where we have groups. So I interact with my cousins in one way, with my colleagues in another way. But we are on LinkedIn typically to promote a career, right? From that point of view, though I'm happy that people are still rating career as number one on LinkedIn. I'm also surprised that it got only 34%. This is just my perspective, right? Everything that I'm saying here, there is nothing like right and wrong, but it is just that how come why only 34% voted for career? That surprises me. That is number one. Between health and relationship, the difference is just 2 percentage points. So it is okay. I mean, it's almost neck to neck. It differs from person to person. If you ask me, I rate health as very high, not because relationships are not important to me, because if I ignore my health, then I think it affects everything else that I do, right? Whether it is my career or other interest or passion. So to that extent, for me, health comes very high. Now, like I discussed about career, I also want to invite your attention to wealth, and this is very important for me, right? Uh, I'm shocked to see that why wealth is only number four, and it has got only 10% of votes, right? I'm not talking about wealth creation just for my sake. And a lot of leaders that we work with as coach, and as part of a coaching engagement, one word that invariably comes up, or with very several synonyms, is that what is my legacy? What is it that I want to be known for? Right? What is it that people are going to remember for after I've gone away? That is legacy, right? And that legacy also can be linked to what you do at career and relationships. Health is important for all the three. And also how much, how well, how much you take care of your financial needs. So wealth is not important. So why I'm saying this is something which I see more in the Indian context. No judgment here. I see this little more in the Indian context because I feel uh, we tend to prioritize knowledge over wealth. We tend to perhaps keep the other things, work, karma yoga, above wealth. Just leaving a point of view for your consideration. I don't have a point of view here, but I'm very surprised that career got only 34% and wealth got only 10%. So uh, the important question that I am leaving you with, before I move to the next stage of the conversation is: Are we clear on what is a career goal? Are we clear on what is the financial goals? If the answer is yes, I would also extend that to the other two. Are we clear on our health goals? And are we clear on our relationship goals? Now, with your permission, I'll kind of shift gears for a very important question. Perhaps this could be one of the most important part of this conversation. I'm just assuming that all of you are, say, 50, 55 or low or younger, right? 40, 30, 20s also. And I'm sure a couple of you are in your 20s and 30s. I want you to make a note. What are these SMART goals, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound? What are these goals? Something say like at 60, when you're 60. 60, I'm just picking up a number which is kind of where you have hit your peak. It could be 50, it could be 70 also. Pick up an age. I'll just talk about 60 because I call this tool as regal at 60. So you're truly regal, you're at your full potential at 60. So, do you have your smart parameters for each of these goals when you are at 60, or the number that you choose your right age? For example, what is your career goal when you are at 60? What is your health goal when you're at 60? What is your wealth goal when you're at 60? For example, what is my net worth when I'm at 60? Do you have it in rupee or dollar terms? Is that enough to take care of yourself? Also, and things like COVID leaving such a big hole on our budget now, right? Because of the expenses on the medical front, direct or indirect. Are we even taking into account those unexpected expenses that may come up? So have you planned your wealth to your optimum so that you can truly live a regal at 60? So the tool is deliberately called regal at 60 because it's a choice that you have to make. and it starts with goal setting. And that's classical coaching. Coaching starts with setting goals, and just not smart. There are a couple of other acronyms that we use in coaching. One is pure, pure, that again is an acronym. Yeah, there's something called pure and clear, legal, environmentally sound, right? Achievable, recordable. This is some of the letters that stand for in pure and clear, understood for everyone. So, do you have goals? Those are truly pure and clear and smart. So, if this resonates with you, one homework that I would leave you with for today, specifically, preferably, please, before you go to bed today, would be, what are your smart goals on these four parameters? If you have set your smart goals on these four parameters and you are willing to look at it regularly and then work on it, trust me, your life is going to be very different from starting today. And now I'm not making any false claims. I'm a professional coach, I do this for my living. If you set your right goals, then you are going to shift gears and going to experience your life very differently. What prevents us from experiencing life to the fullest is we have not set goals. Set ambitious goal. Those of us who are familiar with Jim Collins, he speaks about BHAG, Bhag, not that Bhag Daud in Hindi, right? Not the stressful Bhag Daud, but it's about BHAG is again an acronym. Sorry for multiple acronyms and jargons. B stands for big, hairy, audacious goal. So if it is big or not hairy, at least can you set audacious goal for yourself? That is a starting point. And in coaching, we start with setting ambitious and audacious goals, big goals, something that is beyond my comfort zone, something that will challenge me as I travel from here without really stressing out and sweating it out. At the same time, when I'm in my retirement age, 60, 70, I'm closer to my full potential. That's a choice that you have to make now. Being regal at 60 or whatever age that you have chosen is a choice that you're making now, and in every moment you have done it all in your past till today, and also every moment that you're going to spend in the future. No, I'll type somebody's work which resonate a lot for me. Viktor Frankl, he speaks about In Pursuit of Happiness, his popular book. It speaks about you know finding the meaning of your life. What is the meaning of your life? Link it to a larger goal. Yeah, Viktor Frankl's In Pursuit. It's a book a must-have in your libraries. So something that I would recommend. So I pause here. I'm going to kind of see if there are any questions. Otherwise, I have all the comments I have copied and pasted onto this Word document. I'm going to run through some of them. We'll not have time for every one of them, and we'll continue the conversation on that LinkedIn post. Yeah. So I'll pause here, sip a little water, and see if you have any question to ask. Please feel free to ask. You can put it on either the question answers or on the chat. Yeah, good. So assuming there are no questions, I'll jump into the next one, which is about the folk. Some of the comments that I heard. Again, as I keep reminding you all, there is nothing like right and wrong here. This is just my perspective about life and career. I've spent 20 years, 21 years in the corporate, and also have been coaching for last 8, 9 years now. I've clocked over 5,000 hours of coaching. So I'm just bringing together the experience of all this. Yeah. Now, first one, this I'm just starting. I picked up at random some of the comments and copy pasted that into some of those. There are those gaps is about some kind of a break. Now, Balkrishna said No wonder career, health, relationships are competing neck to neck. As I said earlier, I would have been I would have been happy to see careers a bit higher, but I mean ultimately that's how we have voted. Great. I have a question, by the way. How does Regal at 60 give a roadmap if you are not aware of the intricacies of how to get to the destination? Great. Now, the answer for that is it starts with the goal or the destination, the word that you use here. Everything starts with the goal. So, even if you're having smart, pure, and clear goals itself, is a big step into moving towards that goal. Right now, an important point I also want to make at this point of time is this is not a conscious chasing of your dreams and goals. No, a lot of it happens at the subconscious. A lot of it happens at the subconscious. So the moment I start writing down, and I'm making this point very clear that you should typically write it down with a paper and pencil. So, and you should be looking at it regularly, if possible every day, if not whatever frequency that you decide. But you should keep going back to that because it's your life. So once you have the destination, you have set yourself to a hero's journey. Hero's journey is again something that we use extensively in our coaching work. Courtesy Joseph Campbell, who has looked at a lot of heroes from our mythology to history, and he says there is a pattern to their journey, the hero's journey. And why I bring in this element is, which is the second answer to your question. The first one is the destination. Identify your destination, identify your goals. Commit yourself to the goals. Commit yourself to clear, pure, and smart goals. That is number one. Number two, the help is there for you. And this could be a big relief for all of you who are listening to this. All that you have to decide is that where do I want to go? Just start, defining what it is. And you'll be surprised how help will come to you. But you have to be receptive to offer the help. And that's what the hero's journey says. So you will get help for sure. And it could come in different ways. Hero's journey speaks about helper, talks about kind of out of the world person who comes, like somebody like a guru or a master who comes and give guide. It could be a mentor, it could be a teacher, it could be nature, it could be a child, it could be your guru, and of course it could also be a coach who's professionally qualified to guide you on that. So a coach would definitely take you in a structured way from where you are to where you want to be, but the help is still available, even if you're not looking at hiring a coach now. But it's about committing yourself to that trip. And why I'm laying so much stress on this, those of you are listening to me intently would pick up the energy behind that. Most of us don't take the responsibility of our goal or destination. Do that, you'll start seeing the shift. You'll start seeing the shift towards your destination goal. And the roadmap, now the third and final point to the question, specific to the roadmap is not part of this webinar because that's very personal, that's very individual, or it has to be like-minded group that comes together. We can't talk about your roadmap in this kind of a session. But yes, a coaching process, the Regal at 60 kind of a process, can help you set the roadmap from point A to point B, where you are now to where you want to be. It's definitely possible. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Any more question, please do uh, put on the chat. So one is Balakrishna rightly pointed out, these are neck to neck, but I'm also surprised, Bala. I don't know him. Calling you by the first name. I'm also surprised that what are your thoughts on health, on wealth? Does it also intrigue you that only 10% voted for wealth? Yeah. Anup says, fire all cylinders at once. Now, this is an important point I also want to highlight. And this is again an important point that I want to highlight as part of this webinar, which I hope you really, take it and mull over it. There is a possibility that you can achieve the highest in all the four. Because even if when you go down in the comments, you'll find There is a lot of strong beliefs that if you have to get one, you may have to compromise on something else. The whole purpose of this tool is you don't need to compromise on one to achieve the other. As we say in Hindi, अगर कुछ पाना है तो कुछ खोना पड़ेगा, खोना नहीं पड़ेगा. Sorry if somebody don't speak Hindi here. No, if you have to gain something, you don't have to lose something. And this belief in the subconscious is something that comes up very strongly among our clients also. That's why I'm highlighting this. Now, what I'm also trying to hold the mirror for you as part of this webinar is to hold some of these hidden beliefs for you, right? And trust me, I'm a professional coach. I'm a trainer for the coaches who want to become a coach like me, train the trainer. I'm also certified healer. So I'm not saying this from generally giving gyan. No, I'm certified, trained, qualified, practicing in all these three areas. So I'm established my credibility that what makes me reasonably qualified to comment on this. Again, nothing is carved on stone. I am not the ultimate authority. The whole idea of this webinar is to trigger some thought process in you. Yeah, as part of International Coaching Week. So you can fire all the cylinders at once. And the more you accept that as a possibility, instead of pick up one, ignore other, the success would be actually holistic. So, a friend asked me, who is on this call, what is the objective of this webinar? My primary objective, the hidden agenda was that you can achieve success on all these four parameters at a very holistic level. And that is true success. No? If you become multi-millionaire and you have lost health, there is this famous Dalai Lama quote, right? People ignore health and become super rich. And I'm just paraphrasing it. Then they spend on health to regain their health and wellness, right? Is it worth it? Is it worth diluting your health parameters, not making wealth, or really giving a life of full abundance? No, it's just not about bank balance. A lot of super rich people around us are not happy. Just look around. So it is one thing to have net worth and wealth in the bank or assets, but it's something to enjoy that abundance. I'm speaking about abundance that the wealth can give you. There's no point in just having wealth and not being really truly happy, truly blissful, right? Now, don't counter me saying that abundance is a state of mind. Of course, it is a state of mind, but I would rather have it with my bank balance. I'm a former banker, right? Now, very important point. Those of you who don't know me, I'm not talking about having the net worth purely to pursue my selfish interest. It's not for the sake of just my family. It's also for some of the small charity that I do. Like the squirrel of Ramayana, some small charity. So I can't do charity if I don't have the net worth. So where is the question of giving if I'm hungry? Right? We would first fill our stomach, then before we feed the poor, right? Or do anything else in that space of charity. And the COVID has just thrown up a lifetime opportunity for us to make a big impact, make real contribution. You need wealth for that. You need health for that. You need to be successful. You need to be an expert. So you can fire all cylinders at once. Don't take this belief of others. Don't acquire that belief saying that this will come at a price. No. And this is the most important lesson I want to leave today. Yeah. Soundarya, friend here, she says, all of it. I'm happy. She's also a coach, right? But there could be more to life, and one needs to find balance and move on. And I love two things. One is you need to find balance. This whole thing, Regal at 60, is about finding that balance, not that arithmetic balance, but a balance at a higher level, right? It's not work-life balance. It's work-life integration at a higher level, where you are enjoying the benefits of all this. So, and Soundarya knows as a fellow coach, there are we actually in Real at 60 we look at four more parameters. So she's alluding to that also. So my invitation to you is, if health these four parameters are taken care, what could be the next four parameters? It's a question that I am leaving with you now. at the end of the, I'm just making a note so that I don't forget at the end of the webinar. Before we wrap up, I'll share what are the common four parameters that typically leaders who come to us for coaching share, or coaches, like some of our friends. Yeah. So apart from these four, what could be additional four which are important to you in your life and which you have hit at your peak, at least at your eagle at 60, if not earlier, and of course you sustain it rest of your life. Yeah. Now, Toby says, for me it is Corvette versus Mustang, 1967, 1970. Fully. I don't know him, so I don't I don't really. I'm just taking it on the face value. It's a good dilemma to have, Toby. My comment to that would be: is it a Porsche Cayenne or a BMW 5 X5? Right, Porsche Cayenne. My last car when I was abroad was a Prado. I would have almost upgraded to a Porsche Cayenne. Porsche, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, Porsche Cayenne. But yeah, I chose to come back. It's a good dilemma to have. Best wishes for you to chase. Now, another important point I want to make it from a Regal at 60 as a tool. No, you can have this balance. You can enjoy the abundance when all the no all the four legs of a table or all the eight legs of a table are fine, right? Even one of the four uh, legs of the table is not fit, it doesn't work, right? Similarly, you can have this dilemma only if you have reached a certain level. Otherwise, you're just chasing the mirage of having one of these two. When I say you, I mean I'm talking to all of us. But it's still a good dilemma to have, right? Somebody says none of the above. He's also a friend and a fellow coach. Well, all this, but I know none of the above. Yeah, for a fellow coach maybe, but typically for leaders, people who are on LinkedIn, who are chasing still their career dreams, all these are important, right? But he also speaks about this beautiful point about the potential triggers, which are the root cause of crisis. Yeah, and I know him personally. Somebody who's a successful coach, and also his name is Narayan Kamath. So we call him NK. Yeah. So I know where he comes from. He's somebody who's reached that level of abundance. Right. Now, Rajaram speaks about the interconnectivity of all the four. That's a point I also want to highlight. You can't achieve one at the cost of the other. If you have not achieved success in all the four, you have not tapped into the full potential of yourself, right? If you know some of the leaders that we work with, this is a very common thing. Either they have ignored their health or they have ignored their relationship. Now, a couple of our senior CXO CEOs tell us, "Can you also coach my spouse, husband and wife, or can you also please coach my son or daughter?" Right? These are typically teenagers and above. No, I have a standard reply to that. Let us sort out you now. You need coaching more than them. A lot of those things will get set right automatically. What that person ignore is that I have ignored relationships. So the moment I take responsibility for a problem in any relationship, I start resolving it. And as I said earlier, everything is not at a cognitive conscious level. A lot of these things start just rearranging in a magical way and things fall in place. So the interconnectivity is what I want to highlight from this particular note. Yeah. Now, very tough to choose between career relationship. Again, this is something that I want to raise a red flag. Yeah, again, he talks about inner health is also a problem to the relationship, and everyone needs to deeply introspect. I mean, that is the point that I want to highlight. Maybe there is no, in my mind, there is no straightforward answer. If you approach this problem from a mind, which people compare it with a monkey, maybe you may not get a straightforward answer. You may get answers, but it may not be at a holistic level. So my invitation to all of us is that go beyond the cognitive mind to at a deeper level of consciousness, where all these elements come and settle in a very magical way. And everything will come in a magical way. Yeah. Yeah, I'm keeping it. I'm looking at the question answers. Yeah, assuming that there's nothing, I'll just look at the chat also. Yeah, there is nothing. I hope either I'm making sense or it is going over the head. So uncertainty and lack of control, right? Yeah, you know, apparent lack of control. To that extent, we need to take control of our life. The moment we take control of our life, we take responsibility of everything in our life. The moment we take responsibility, then a lot of things happen in a way that is good. So it's about being mindful, being aware, and also taking responsibility. Comparison and anxiety, so true, no? Right from our school days, we are compared with our classmates and friends, right? That goes on till we hit the grave. We're constantly comparing, and that is, the anxiety or the stress, everything comes from that. There's this popular Nirma ad. Those of us from my generation, "Uski kameez meri kameez se safed kaisi?" Why is his shirt whiter than my shirt? Right? They're tapping into that comparison bias that we had. Right? In a 20, 30-year-old ads I'm speaking of. So comparison is something that we should definitely try to avoid, because at the core of coaching as a methodology, we assume that every individual is unique and every individual is complete. So where is the question of comparison? If I can take liberty to give a spiritual or a philosophical twist to it, everyone is a is a part of the divine, and every jivatma and paramatma, we all are moving from one state of consciousness to the divine. So where is the question of where is the question of comparison? Again, something I'll I would strongly invite you to make a note of comparison as a self-limiting habit. Avoid that. Let us try to avoid that. Again, I told you, no, this webinar will trigger some things for you to mull over, right? So pick up what makes what makes sense to you. But even if something triggers any emotion, saying that no, what this guy is saying is all wrong, it's absolutely off the track. Don't worry, something is triggering within you. Make a note. You'll get some clarity. Yeah. I also have a question from one of the panelists. Once goals are set, how to push against the inertia to achieve those goals? Yeah, beautiful point. If you're lucky to set goals, right? Something prompted us to set goals. And if you're lucky to set goals which kind of tick those parameters like smart, pure, and clear, half the battle is won. Then it is about sticking to the goal, right? And if you're passionate about the goal, if you're truly committed to the goal, you will get help, as I said earlier, in the context of hero's journey. If you don't see any help coming, I would strongly invite you to seek help. It could be a teacher, mentor, family, who are you trust unconditionally, who you are very sure that would guide you unconditionally. This is very important. If somebody is going to guide you with some hidden agenda, which is not the case with a coach, a professional coach. So a great option is to hire a professional coach or get a mentor or someone who's a teacher or a guru who can guide you with total selflessness. Not easy, I'm telling you. A lot of people are not able to shift to that consciousness where now I'm talking to somebody and I'm totally selfless about the outcome. No, that's very rare. But coaches are trained to do that. So if you're able to get some kind of external help, that will help you. Final point on overcoming inertia. I would leave this magic word, which is relevant to all of us, is about habit. It's good to step back and look at what are your current habits, and ask yourself, are these habits helping me to move to that goal, A to B, or are these holding me back? Are they pulling me down, or are they helping me to make a progress? Zero or one. Either it is helping you to move from here to here, or some of them are pulling you back or pulling you down. Those are pulling you down. You need to find new habits to overcome that. You don't need to fight that habit. Just find new habits to overcome that. That will help you to overcome the inertia. The inertia, if you're aware of the inertia, keep working on it on day to day. It's a habit. Success comes from attitude. Success comes from habit. Success comes from choices that we make every day. So be mindful of the intent, the habit, and the choices we are making moment to moment. It's either taking us towards the goal or is it pulling back. I hope I kind of give some and clarity to that. So these are again, this whole thing, I felt as somebody, it's on the public domain, so that's why I'm just noting it down here. I see a lot of hidden reluctance to kind of really go for it, right? There are high chances of committed relationships, increased responsibilities of career, right? See, we work with leaders as coaches. The responsibility is only going to go high. The need for more money for yourself and for dependence, and for other causes that you want to contribute, like charity. With this result in high probability that we ignore health and the classical health wealth time dilemma. So, if you look at health, wealth, and time as a golden triangle, just see it as an equilateral triangle, and you are in the middle. For me, it is not a dilemma. This is not a dilemma for me. It's a choice that I make. Yeah. So be careful when you're when what is the conversation I am having with myself is an important point. So health wealth. The moment I label health wealth and time as a dilemma, you're more in that space. You're not going towards this. So a good question to ask, a good healing question to ask is, what would it help me to move from the current situation to a successful space, to my regal at 60? You don't need to push yourself to find the answer, but just keep asking, because sometimes just asking those questions are enough. That's more than enough. Yeah. Again, I mean, in the interest of time, I'm just rushing through. Balance is a formidable challenge. Yeah, maybe I think this, Kannan meant career. I hope work. Yeah, work brings wealth, reduces health. Again, I'm seeing some hidden, beliefs, possible beliefs. This is way too difficult. It is not difficult. What is difficult? It is to set the goals of Regal at 60. Again, 60 is a number that you choose. I have set 60 as my target, 9 years back when I started this coaching journey. It is not easy, but it is not difficult. It's about being mindful of it. And I'll also remind the listeners about a great book that I'm very fascinated of late, because we spoke about this word habit. This book is Atomic Habits by Sinclair. Just search Atomic Habits by Sinclair, you'll find it. It's a bestseller. Why I'm bringing this? He speaks about something that resonates with me a lot. Now, we typically set ambitious, audacious goal. Then we start sweating it out, whether it is our health or wealth or gym or career or anything, right? What he speaks of is 1% improvement every day. So, for example, taking a simple example, which is very commonly used in our coaching training programs. I want to improve my health. I want to improve my wellness. No, I want to lose weight, for example. I want to improve my physical, mental, emotional wellness. You break down that into pure, clear, and smart goals. That is difficult. Once we set the goals, then start working on it on 1% every day. And this is my goal, this is my life goal. So where is the question of stress when I am working on something for myself? So it's about setting the goals and take those 1% chances every day. It's a brilliant book, something that I would recommend to all the listeners here. Yeah. So James Clear, yes, not Sinclair. Sorry, yeah. James Clear is that book. Hi Natarajan, I can see you. Yeah, if we have a set goal by finding inertia as a problem, one thing to do is to check if you have the problem in a subconscious mind congruent to the goal set. Yes, and we are I'm just copy pasting the last line for the benefit of participants. He just spoke about, sorry, that is the link to this webinar. He just spoke about the Dr. Bruce Lipton. Check out that if you want to explore subconscious. Dr. Bruce Lipton and James Sinclair is the author of Atomic Habits. Thanks for the correction. So Dr. Bruce Lipton's popular book is Biology of Belief, and you can find him on YouTube also. There is some very thought-provoking work by Dr. Bruce Lipton. So I agree with Natarajan. It's about exploring the subconscious mind, whether that is congruent with goals. And but for time I would have gone deeper with some examples. I'll give you one good example that my mentor, one of my mentors in my healing space, shared with one of her clients. This fascinated me, right? So she was saying that one of her healing clients had sprained the leg and had a mild swelling. So naturally, it required the doctor ortho recommended bed rest. So this client was staying alone in Bombay, and her parents, young professional, her parents were in Delhi, and she invited her parents to come over for a couple of few days or weeks till her leg heals. And she came, and it was getting better. And once she came, and the pain was gone in a few days. Initially painkillers, and otherwise it started healing. But they found to the pleasant surprise that the swelling was not going, and this is a real case. Huh? The swelling was not going. So doctor also was surprised that how come the pain is gone, looks very fine. His test, but there is no improvement in the swelling. Then incidentally, this lady spoke to her healer, also my mentor, saying that this is what is happening. What do you think? You have any idea? So my healer, who is a very accomplished professional healer, she said, "I'll come back to you. Let me go into meditation and see if I can get an answer." When she did that later in the day, what came for her in her meditation was that this patient who sprained her leg was subconsciously holding on to that swelling because she didn't want her parents to go back to Delhi. And she was not aware of it. It was a play of the subconscious mind. And when my mentor or the healer shared this with the patient, who had sprained her leg, she said, I'm surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised that you picked that up. I was not aware of it, but that perhaps is a fact. I'm enjoying the presence of my parents at my home. It's been so beautiful. Otherwise, I go, you know, short trips to Delhi and come back. I've never had these moments after for a long time. That's the play of the subconscious mind. Yeah. In the race for the career, yeah, I forgot, friends. Be very careful, my friend Murli. You can't ignore health, and nature returns it in human as uh, I don't know. I mean, there's something that again nature does not give anything, right? Yeah, I mean, or or is it the play of Newton's law? Or yeah, I mean, I saw there is a post that is trending in Facebook. The all that cyclone has thrown back all the trash to the land, right? The sea has thrown it back. Yeah, to some extent, it's you can term it as karma. Yeah, but what my most important message in this webinar is this is eminently avoidable provided we take responsibility without stress. Holistic joy and wellness and health and wealth and abundance does not come from a position of stress, no, but this is avoidable. So, for me, my overriding message from this webinar is it is possible to avoid midlife crisis. Yeah. Uh, so I'm just running through because these comments are there. Yeah, I mean, this I picked it up because if it's a stool with three legs and one leg is not working, how does it work? So it's essential that we achieve success at a holistic level. There is no way that we can enjoy life unless we have that. Yeah, here he speaks about Maslow's theory of hierarchy, something that I resonate a lot. Again, lesser satisfaction will lead to discontent and crisis, something that can be avoidable. Now, what I also want to highlight here is hierarchy of needs was considered to be very, very different. Thanks, Natarajan. Yeah. Was considered to be, uh, by the Natarajan says, excellent story, The Power of Subconscious Mind. Thank you. Uh, you know, Maslow's hierarchy speaks about self actualization as the highest need. Maslow also has clarified that self actualization is when we are operating at our full potential here and now. It's not about going into nirvana in our old age. It's about being at our full potential here and now. So the question to each one of us here is, at this moment of time, am I at my full potential? Have I lived my life in the past in such a way that where I am today, it is at my full potential? 99% I can guarantee you the answer would be no. Yeah, so we have made some choices in the past. We have picked up some habits which is not helping us to be at our full potential. Then with that knowledge and with that option, with that choice, how are we going to live our rest of our life different? Are we going to move towards regal at 60, or are we still going to go back? Or are we going to take one step forward, two steps backward? It's a choice that we make. Yeah. Now, I also want to highlight another point related to Maslow's hierarchy. One thing that we notice among the younger crowd, because I'm sure some of you are very young in your 20s here, generation Z and millennials, I've seen that generation speaking about, the first physical need and self-actualization need in same breath. And for me, that is a wow. There are some people who want to accomplish spiritual goals at the same time reach, career, health, wealth goals also. So it's not a linear progression into self-actualization. It can be magic happening concurrently. Yeah, something, youngsters should consider this. I may be wrong here totally, but this is something I'm observing among the youngsters, some of them at home. I am also observing this as a big possibility for the younger crowd, especially the millennials and generation Z, right? And the youngsters will come. So if you have got young kids at home, don't look at their life from our lens of linear progression into self-actualization. It can happen simultaneously. So somebody would go for a health resort and go to the bar, or can go to a music, high decibel music concert. So don't see it as cognitive dissonance, no, because for them they see a balance in everything. That's a possibility. Now, Ghanshyam, again, he speaks about what could be the possible reasons. It's all about not making, setting goals and not making choice. And please remember, a victim mindset will never help you to come out of it. Victim thing mindset will just get you stuck there. Yeah. So again, don't be careful about this middle class mindset, right? Childhood. I'll just caution you. You don't need to take this as the ultimate truth. No, I come from a lower middle class. From my initial days. No, I'm definitely not lower middle class now. So, if I'm going to look at that with negativity, no, I'm getting stuck there. Let me look at the possibility, right? And it's shocking. Yesterday, I heard a statistic: some 30 lakh Indians have gone from middle class to the poor category. From middle class to below the poverty line, which is very unfortunate. So the whole thing around below poverty line and middle class has a lot of energy, self-limiting energy or beliefs around it. So be mindful of that. Yeah. And I can see Wing Commander Ashish here, grateful for your thing, Lieutenant Colonel Rohit here. And I'm very grateful. I have a bias positive bias towards defense personnel. My dad was in army. Yeah, and this exposure to, for me, this is a beautiful line. Exposure to some of these techniques will help you. Now, this is Ramesh's priorities. The invitation for each one of us is, what is my solution? What is that solution that will help me to move to the next level? Yeah. Again, I can see parents mind. Don't blame the parents, because we have we have embraced a life of our parents, so don't worry. Again, here there is a comment from an IAF veteran, Abhijit ji. Thank you for this. The crisis is in the mind. Everything is in the mind, but then from the mind you cannot solve it, right? We can only solve it from a different consciousness, as Einstein has said. Thank you, yeah, for somebody who just said he's got another meeting. Yeah, Preeta says it's about self-awareness. I can't agree more. It's about priorities, Sounder. I can't agree more. I'm just rushing through. Yeah, yeah. Some of them said generativity and stagnation. Vijaya, Hari says it's none of the above. Yeah, I mean it changes from person to person. For some of us, it is different. I promise you to come back and tell you what are the common other four. In the case of generally the leaders, one of them, yeah, is spiritual goal. A very common another goal is charity. You would have heard me saying charity, charity multiple times. That's because I've come across a lot of leaders who are my coaching clients speak about charity. So philanthropy, charity, and other stuff. For many of them, it is hobby. Again, a question for everyone here is, what is your hobby? And if you say that I don't have a vibrant, thriving hobby, you're depriving yourself the joy of hobby. I would invite you to go and look at what was your early childhood interest, whether it is in sports or games or music or art or painting, whatever it is, reconnect with that. We owe it to ourselves. It's for me the part of abundance. So, hobby is a must. Another thing that commonly comes is legacy. What is it that I want to be known for? I already mentioned that early, but legacy comes very strongly. Another thing is travel. You would have seen my background, my affinity towards travel. Travel is something that comes very common. So, if travel is of importance to you, how are you how are you fulfilling those needs? Right? Another very important, very, very important for all of us leaders is learning. What is my learning orientation? How am I equipping myself to upskill myself? Right? That is something that you need to do. Yeah. So this is some of the elements, and it differs from person to person. So typically, the first four are what came up on the LinkedIn poll. The next four are usually, 90%, 95% are additional four from these four. So my invitation to you, we are at the top of the hour, is what are those 8 items which are important to you in your entire life? Yeah, that is number one. Number two, select an age, something at your, at the crown of your career, at the peak of your career. I chose 60, and 60 is a magic number for me for different reasons. I'll not go into it. How do I reach that pinnacle at 60 and I sustain it beyond that? Set those smart, pure, and clear goals. Yeah. And commit yourself to that journey day in and day out. You can manifest magic in your life. Nothing can stop you. You can accomplish all the 8 parameters in your life, not just the first four, at a very holistic level. That is being regal at 60. There is this famous one phrase from Hindu scriptures, Satchit Ananda. you know Bliss is a true state of mind. We are regal already. We are just limiting ourselves to really manifest that in our day-to-day life. It's just we ourselves are holding back. So the question to you is, what would it take me to move from the current state to being regal at 60? In my case, regal at 60, or any number that you choose. Thank you everyone for joining. Once again, thanks to ICF for giving me, this trigger to run this webinar on International Coaching Week. And I look forward to connecting with, all the participants here and those who couldn't make it. And I'm going to share this video on the LinkedIn as a comment. So let the conversation continue, right? Stay safe. God bless. Take care. Bye bye.